Hello and welcome to the Show and Shine. I'm GT Sam and this show is all about cars, bikes and anything motoring related. Like that. This show has been on my project list for a number of years. It's something that I always wanted to do and I always had in mind that I'd start it just before the Hot Rod and Street Machine show that we have here locally in Perth. Whilst there is no show this year, I'd still love to talk about it. Now, you saw in my intro that this show is all about cars, bikes and anything motoring related. Predominantly this show will be covering static show and shines, events that are motoring related in Perth, Western Australia. Occasionally we will venture outside of Perth, we will venture outside of Western Australia. That's predominantly the focus of this show. At the moment there's no shows to drive to. That should be changing very shortly and we'll touch a little bit more on that shortly, but certainly that is the primary focus of this show. Some of you may know me from my professional life and that's absolutely fine, but I just wanted to point out very quickly that this channel is very separate from my day job. So I promised talking about the Hot Rod and Street Machine show today, and that's certainly what I want to talk about, as well as a couple of things that I've got coming up, and I'm filming a little bit later today, something that should be pretty exciting, and stay tuned for that. The Hot Rod and Street Machine show is one of our sole surviving indoor motor shows that goes over more than one day. We lost the bike show, we lost the car show, we lost Auto Salon as well, and these were all fantastic shows, and the Hot Rod and Street Machine show is the last surviving indoor show of this nature. Granted, the Perth Motor Show and the Perth Motorcycle and Scooter Expo were both expos, they were trade shows effectively, but still the same premise applies for what I want to talk about. I said before that the Hot Rod and Street Machine show is one of the last surviving shows of its kind in Western Australia, and what I mean by that is it's an indoor show, it's held over a couple of days, and it is a competitive show where there's people setting up for a couple of days beforehand and then there's bump out on the night of. And what that does, what I'm getting at there, is that it's the atmosphere of the show. It's when there's people setting up, there's an anticipation or a trepidation of what's going to happen. People have put their hard work in for a year or 18 months or 2 years or more even sometimes into a car, or the club's been setting up and they've been trying to organise everyone to get into the same place at the same time, on time, without anyone being late, without anything going wrong, without anything breaking, and that energy that you feel, that sense of anticipation. Like I said, the sense of anticipation is what makes that show special. Now, people are competing in the Hot Rod show, but they're not competing for anything, life-changing or anything like that. There's, for the most part, small prizes, with the only real prize being a sense of achievement, a sense of being better than someone else, which is, that's at the core of what a competition is really. It's that sense of winning something is what people are competing for. They're competing for a win, they're not competing for a prize. It's really nice when people can get together and be friendly and happy and all that, and certainly you see a lot of that with people working together and helping each other, and you see something's gone wrong with someone's car and they borrowed a part of someone else, and there's certainly a sense of community. The car community as a whole is very friendly like that. But the level of competition that it breeds by having such a prestigious show that's been running for 23 years, it was 24th year this year, that's been cancelled, it'll be 24th year next year, or maybe they'll say it is the 25th year of the show, who knows. But it means something. It means something to win the 20-something Hot Rod and Street Machine show. It means something to win a show that has been going on for that long, a show that carries that much clout. And so for that reason, people put a lot of time and a lot of money into these shows. That level of competition, I keep saying that level of competition, that level of anticipation, energy in the air, that is what makes it special. If you've ever been in performing arts, there's maybe one other vehicle show which I would equate to this, and that would be the X Trials, and that's again a competition, but that certainly feels more like a show, more like an expo than an actual competition. And you might see the same thing from other professional level sports. There's the V8 supercars and F1, other things like that we get here in Perth. But having an indoor show just adds that other level. It traps the atmosphere in. which sounds so stupid. The performing arts analogy is another good one, where if you're indoors and there's a show, you're about to go live in front of an audience, and you might have an adjudicator if it's a competition. That energy that you feel backstage, the energy you feel before the actual show, that's something really special. And if you haven't had that experience before, I really encourage you to get into a show or a sport or something that has that level of competition, because it's just something else. You really need to experience it. I've been very privileged to be a part of the Hot Rod and Street Machine show set up a couple of times. I've been going to the show since 2010, and sort of the latest probably before. Ordinarily, in this section of the video, I would be talking about the show and the dates and times, how to get there, how much it costs, things like that. Like I said, it's not happening this year. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to reflect on some of the previous years and some of the photos that I have and some of the photos that I can find from other people that are more talented photographers than I am. So there's a few shows coming up in Perth that are slated to happen. We'll have to wait and see what happens with our social distancing restrictions, but for the time being, really looking forward to Targa Southwest and Targa West happening in August and October respectively. And if they do go ahead with spectators, it would be fantastic to see some of you there. It's certainly a great show that the guys put on. It's very professionally done. Of course, being a Targa event, they really know how to run an event. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are going the other way because I took a wrong turn because I got lost because I was too busy speaking to you. I'm on the way to the next location, so just trying to do this without GPS directions because that would be distracting. So we'll start to see in short order some of the smaller shows coming back. We might hopefully see a Classic Cars and Coffee, or maybe even a Custom Cars and Coffee in the near future, and certainly we can look forward to that. Noticed as well, all-wheel show and shine's been posted as something that's coming up. Fingers crossed that's able to go ahead in October. So that's been a brief introduction to this show. It was supposed to be hyping you up for an event, but unfortunately that event's not happening. So we can reflect, we can enjoy the past times that were and look forward to the future, albeit a little bit further in advance than what I'd initially intended for this show to be.